Hi, I'm attorney Gregory Dell, joined by attorney Cesar Gavidia, and today we're going to talk about one of Cesar's recently resolved disability insurance appeal cases against Reliance Standard Insurance Company. And Cesar, I love doing these videos because it lets people learn about situations that they may relate to and get some tips about how to handle an appeal, and also learn some things that they may be able to do to prevent a claim denial in the future. So give us the background of what your client was experiencing, and then we'll get into the basis of the denial from Reliance Standard and the tips or the strategies that you took to help get benefits reinstated. So what was the background of your case?
So our client here was a insurance sales agent, but a little bit more than just an insurance sales agent. He kind of ran his own agency, so to speak, and had people also working in that agency with him. And
did he sell disability insurance?
He didn't sell disability insurance. No, he was more into like the property casualty, other things, other lines of insurance and products. But just because you're in that line of insurance doesn't mean that you necessarily know how to approach a disability insurance claim and what you need to do here. And oftentimes people who are in the sales field, we get contacted by them because they know that, look, they're not prepared to deal with the claim side of things necessarily. Right. So he'd actually been battling and dealing with some levels of neuropathy where he was having, the neuropathy going down into his legs and into his feet for a number of years. He was kind of working through that, and it had more recently kind of become a problem for him, and it was really creating some pain. Some significant amount of pain when he was walking, when he was standing, and when he was traveling, and that's what insurance agents do when they are, doing their job. They are going out to meet with clients. They have to kind of pound the pavement, so to speak, in order to sell and make a living. And so he'd filed a disability claim with his disability insurer, who here was Reliance Standard. They took the claim in, they reviewed it, and they denied it. And they denied it basically on the basis that nothing in his medical history made it look like anything had changed up to the current and present time where he was experiencing more problems. So they're really focused in on, well, look, we understand that you're telling us that things have gotten worse, but when we're reviewing your medical records, we don't see that it's gotten worse. We don't see that there's documentation or proof or evidence that anything has changed or worsened in your condition in order to justify you're not now able to work.
So it's a long-term chronic medical condition for somebody where they basically say, we don't dispute your diagnosis, but your diagnosis doesn't equal disability.
Right.
And from there, so what did they rely upon to say that you're not disabled?
So that initial denial letter really was not very detailed or extensive. They didn't even identify really where they came to this decision. But when you went through the administrative file, they kind of looked back to a nurse claim reviewer who went through a review of the records, and they determined, I guess, based on this review of the records, and it's a very easy thing for them to say, is they basically do a chronology of the records, a summary of the records, and then just say there's nothing here to support that there's limitations now being caused by this. On the other side of that, they also, from a claim standpoint, because our client had reported to them, look, I've been having problems for about a year and a half, and it's gotten worse, and I've had to reduce my work schedule back in order to accommodate myself and be able to continue working. And essentially, Reliance Standard came back, and instead of looking at that as, well, this is proof that things have gotten worse for him, let's look outside of the records, let's see what's kind of going on in his work life and his everyday life to perhaps find that there is support and proof of his disability and proof that he's not able to perform his substantial material duties. But instead of doing that, they responded with, well, if you were working less, then you may not even be eligible for coverage under this policy, and we're going to deny it on a technical basis.
Because you got to work 30 hours a week or more, right?
Right.
So incredible. So instead of they said, okay, well, maybe he is disabled. Let's look for another reason, a technical reason in the policy to deny the claim.
Right.
So what was your strategy during the appeal?
So I thought it was important because you got to really address and attack that technical reason, because if you can't overcome that, then it doesn't matter if you're medically disabled after. Because if you can't establish coverage, then it really wouldn't matter if you're able to establish that there is proof of disability from a certain point forward. So what we did was we had to go back. We had to find that support from his doctors, that they were saying, look, work a reduced schedule. You can't continue working at this level, at this capacity, work less hours, that this was doctor supported. We provided evidence of that. We provided evidence that this was actually also accommodated by his employer, that it was noted that this is being done for a medical reason. So then, once we were able to establish that, we were able to establish this continuity of coverage. And then we came in with the additional medical support and functional support, through functional capacity exams that we do, where we refer out to what we call a functional capacity, or they're really a therapist that conducts these tests that test the level of function that you have in performing certain tasks like standing, sitting, walking, to prove and establish that, look, there are limitations here. And when focusing in on his occupational analysis, when you're talking about being an insurance sales agent, having to basically stand, walk, drive 15 to 20% of the time, that's a very substantial and material aspect and duty of your job.
What about, we're filming this video during the COVID situation. Are you seeing the disability companies say, no, that's not the duties of an insurance salesperson, or have you not seen a change in how they're going to attack that?
I think we're going to start seeing that more. You haven't seen too much of it, yet, but I think you're certainly going to start seeing that as time goes on and as people are now working from home, because, that's in many cases for a claim of disability. Prior to coming to that claim for disabilities, people have accommodated themselves by working from home. So once that's done and that kind of becomes the way that you're doing your job, especially, after you've established that for a period of time, then then they're going to look at that and consider, well, you've been working from home for a period of time now, and that's how you've been, performing your occupation, and you've continued to earn, income or earn commissions or whatever, however it is that you're paid. So, if you can continue doing that from home, we're not going to find that you're disabled. And the fact that maybe classically your occupation was performed by going out into the community and having to meet with clients, or going out and, kind of pounding the pavement to earn your bread and butter, we're not considering that anymore.
So what did the final product look like when you were done reviewing the record, obtaining all this info information? What did you finally submit as your appeal letter?
So my appeals look like, and I know a lot of people wouldn't know what this looks like, but a legal brief that I submit to the federal courts. It's organized that way. That's how we as lawyers are trained to write and address issues and respond to things. It's very organized, very comprehensive. It goes through evidence. We identify exhibits in there that we use as specific points of evidence to establish our arguments, to address, and you have to address every one of those reasons that they're being denied. In ERISA cases, there's not necessarily any sort of issue preclusion. In other words, if you don't bring it up in your appeal, it doesn't prevent you from bringing it up as an argument later. But there is evidentiary preclusion. So if you don't get that piece of evidence in, if you don't get that testing in or that medical record in, then you're gonna be prevented from submitting that later on. So it's very important to address it this way. The reason I address it this way is I also know that that federal judge, if it gets to the point that we go to litigation, is gonna go through that administrative file. And when they reach my appeal and they see that it reads like everything else they read on a daily basis, it's going to be a lot easier for them to digest this, to understand our arguments and our points, and hopefully find in our favor.
Yeah, and we always try to explain, I know I do at least, to people who are calling us and considering, they want to learn about the appeal. They want to know, do they need a lawyer, do they not need a lawyer? But it's interesting you said you're writing it with anticipation that obviously you want to win the appeal, and you have great success. We win more than 75% of our appeals. But you're also writing with the fact that this is the trial, because if you lose, that the next step is a lawsuit that has to be filed that will be reviewed by a federal judge, and there will be no more testimony. Most people don't know that because there's no other area of the law that's like this, where when you go to file a lawsuit and you think, I'm going to have my day in court, I'm going to present evidence, I'm going to call testimony like everyone sees on TV. It doesn't happen in these types of ERISA cases. What's going to happen is that appeal and all of the paperwork that was reviewed by the insurance company is going to be presented to the judge. And so you have to write your appeal in a manner such that a judge is going to read it later on. And a judge is used to reading things and wants it organized in a professional manner. And people who aren't lawyers, they can't present the information in this particular way. They don't know the strategies of what to put in or what not to put in. And also I know that when we write our appeals, because we know the standard of review, which we have videos about what's the standard of review at a trial and talking about arbitrary and capricious versus de novo, which is not for a discussion right now, but I encourage people to look up our other videos about standards of review in a disability lawsuit, is that you can't tell the disability insurance company everything they did wrong. You need to prove your case but not tell them what they did wrong, because if you give them the roadmap and they go and check off the box of everything you tell them, then you are going to have almost zero chance of winning this case in a lawsuit, because they may follow your roadmap. And then you can't say that they acted unreasonably, which what people don't realize is the standard at trial is not just are you disabled, it's are you disabled, and if the judge finds you're disabled, did the insurance company act unreasonably? So tremendous strategy in writing the appeal, and it's something that we always encourage people to call us, because we want to discuss your claim and discuss that strategy and explain it to them so that if they do want to do it on their own, they understand what's going on, but also understand the reasons why they should work with a professional who can guide them towards presenting it in a manner that if you lose this, you still want to have come from a position of power and not weakness. So, congratulations on winning that, this particular appeal, and they never paid the claimant at all, correct?
No, they hadn't. They denied it outright. So
Okay.
It wasn't like they paid for a period of time and then terminated benefits. They denied it from the get-go.
And what are you going to have to do now? I mean, you're only in the first, what's going to come, ahead?
So being that we're kind of in that initial own occupation stage, right now we've been successful in establishing that his disability prevents him from performing his occupation as an insurance sales agent. We now have to establish that he's disabled from any gainful occupation, because we're going to be turning that corner at 24 months. And if we haven't taken the necessary steps to prepare for that, then we're just going to be dealing with a denial, again, on that basis. So I think it's really important, because, insurance companies, when they look at that, are going to kind of look at this grand scope, this broad spectrum of particular occupations you can possibly perform. And I think it's going to be really critical that he's been working as an insurance agent for 20 plus years. That is something very, very important. I don't think that they could just let that go or basically ignore that.
If you have a claim out there with Reliance Standard that's been denied and you'd like us to review your disability denial, feel free to reach out to Cesar or myself. We'll immediately provide you with a free consultation in which we'll need to review your denial letter. Within a matter of minutes, we'll be able to let you know what we think is a strategy, how we can help you, what it would cost to work with our firm, and what we think is a reasonable chance of you winning, which is what you really want to know. So if we can help you, give us a call, and we look forward to speaking with you. Hi, I'm Gregory Dell, the Managing Attorney of Dell Disability Lawyers, and I hope you find the video you just watched helpful. We put these videos out all of the time, and we'd love if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. Beyond our videos on our YouTube channel, we also have lots of information available on our website at diattorney.com, and we encourage you to come to our website. The goal is that we want you to be educated about the disability insurance process. And when you get to our website, you'll see that we have information all about your specific disability insurance company, your occupation, and your medical condition. And we've designed our website such that you can easily search our website to find things that you may specifically be looking for. Now, at our website, we have thousands and thousands of pages of information, hundreds of videos that you can search. Plus, we're building a section of reviews of all the disability insurance companies, and we have the Ask Our Lawyer section where you can go ahead and ask us any questions that you may have. Now, we realize that you may not need us right now, but you may need us in the future to help you with your disability claim, and we think one of the best ways to keep in touch is by clicking the button below and subscribing to our channel. And most importantly, again, no matter where you live in the country, we're always available. Just go ahead and give us a call. We're happy to discuss your claim and let you know immediately if we can help you.